Welcome. Welcome to Vanadium. I'm Chris Rankin. The more I learn about this mad world, the more mysterious it seems. Who would have thought that the universe would be hiding so many of its most closely guarded secrets in something as simple and common as soap? This substance is practically primordial, with soap recipes dating back thousands of years to ancient Mesopotamia. This technology relies on chemistry and subtle electromagnetic behavior at the nanoscale in order to work with water, to clean and remove grease and dirt. Chemically speaking, this is making the insoluble soluble. Soap really is doing something amazing. In ancient times, people considered soap and water to be divine alchemy. Some even feared soap and considered it black magic and a tool of the devil. I could imagine how a soap bubble floating across the ancient desert could have been unsettling for people who had never seen one or even been exposed to the concept. Soap is ancient black magic and alchemy. With just fat and ash, it was nanotechnology before anyone knew what nanotechnology was. Some recipes called for the fat of animals and even humans before plant oil-based forms became available. For most of human history, soap was an exotic and highly prized substance. It was something people even killed over. Besides cleaning, soaps and their artificial forms, detergents, are used as lubricants and thickeners and in oil fracking fluid. I have a theory that I've never tested that one could use a sufficient amount of soap to loosen up wet dirt so much that it could create a quicksand or even a landslide. When I was a kid, soap seemed very strange. Some liquid soaps looked and smelled like syrups you would put on your pancakes. It seemed to me like stuff like that, if you spread it around, should be making a mess instead of cleaning it up. So what makes soap soap? It's all about the soap molecule, which is really a machine with multiple functional parts, but they're too small to see without a very powerful microscope. If you were able to get a good look at one, a soap molecule would appear like a tadpole. It has a head with one kind of chemistry to make it attracted to water, or hydrophilic, and a long tail, which is water repellent or hydrophobic. This hydrophobic tail loves to stick to oily things, which wouldn't normally mix with water at all. When you wash grease off your hands, the tails of the soap molecules are sticking into the grime, while the water-loving heads are allowing it to be carried away. Soap is like an adapter for oil and water. The substance dates back 5,000 years to Bronze Age Mesopotamia in the Sumer region, now southern Iraq. Archaeologists discovered soap material in ancient ceramic cylinders. These containers were inscribed with what's translated as fats boiled with ashes. Soap was likely stumbled upon by the ancients, probably originating during a cookout with meat roasting over a fire and globs of fat dripping into the ashes. The result was a chemical reaction that created an interesting and slippery substance that turned out to be great at lifting dirt off skin. Soap preparation techniques were developed by the Babylonians and Egyptians, who devised new forms of soap made from plant ash and oils and animal fat. Many other ancient civilizations also used early forms of soap. Soap got its name from an ancient Roman legend about Mount Sapo. The story goes that rain would wash down the mountain, mixing with animal fat and ashes, and clean the rocks. Soap was originally used primarily for the treatment of ailments. One Sumerian text dating back to 2200 BC describes soap being used to wash and provide relief to a person with some type of skin condition. It's unclear exactly what the physicians at the time believed the soap was doing, but the medical benefits were clear enough for them. I mentioned before that a soap molecule is like a tadpole with a water-loving head and an oil-loving tail. When mixed with water, these molecules form interesting, sometimes spherical structures called micelles around any droplets of dirt or oil. In a micelle, their oil-loving or hydrophobic tails are pointed inward, while the water-loving or hydrophilic heads face out. The outside of the micelle is water-soluble, so it washes away, along with any undesirables trapped in the interior. A soap bubble is similar to a micelle, but it's a 3-layer structure or sandwich of water between 2 layers of soap. Each layer in this sandwich is only 1 molecule thick. Soap kills microorganisms by disorganizing their protective outer oily membrane. It can also emulsify oils, allowing them to be mixed or carried away by running water. Soap is created by mixing fats or oils with what in chemistry is referred to as a base. Here's the method from an alchemist's manual, published sometime between the 8th and 10th centuries, called the Mippae Clavicula. This translates from Latin to a little key to everything. It reads, "Spread well-burnt ashes from good logs over woven wickerwork, and gently pour hot water on them so it goes through drop by drop. After it is clarified well, let it cook. Add enough oil and stir very well." The alchemist's recipe calls for either olive oil or beef tallow. The ashes in the formula bring chemical bases like lye or sodium hydroxide and potash or potassium hydroxide. These are left over in the ash after the combustion of wood and soluble in water. These bases are still ingredients of many modern soaps. The oil or fat reacts with the base in a process called saponification. The hydroxyl group in the base attacks the end of the oily fat chain, forming what chemists call a fatty acid salt. Until the Industrial Revolution, soap making was conducted on a small scale, and the product was rough and inconsistent. In 1780, however, James Keir established the first soap factory and accompanying chemical plant for the manufacture of bases like potash and lye. In 1807, Andrew Pears took the world by storm when he started making a high-quality, transparent soap that went by the name Pears Soap. Later, the company recruited English actress Lily Langtry to become the poster girl for the soap. This made Langtry the first celebrity in history to endorse a commercial product. The chemistry of soap manufacture stayed essentially the same until 1916. During World War I and World War II, there was a shortage of animal and vegetable fats and oils needed for making soap. Chemists had to get clever and use other raw materials instead. These synthetic products are known today as detergents. Throughout history, and in recent times, there have been reported instances of soap being made from human body fat. During World War I, the British press claimed the Germans were operating a corpse processing plant, making glycerin and soap from the bodies of their own soldiers. Both during and after World War II, rumors circulated that soap was being mass-produced from the bodies of victims of Nazi concentration camps in German-occupied Poland. There was even some evidence of this presented during the Nuremberg trials. Humans somehow always figure out a way to find the evil and beauty in anything, even soap. This plain, common, yet magic stuff is behind more than just modern hygiene. Soap-like molecules and micelles are the basis for the cell membranes of all life. Many scientists think soapy molecules are what's behind all the diverse structure and functionality necessary to drive life at the microscopic scale. For me, soap was one of the things that got me interested in science. I just needed to know why a drop of soap was all it took to create a floating bubble from water. It still amazes me that soap makes a sandwich of water and bends itself into the same shape every time. Thank you very much. This was Chris Rankin with Vanadium.